Hi, good evening, guys. It's Martin from Martin's Holiday Village, and here we are again for another episode of Coming to Your Sofa, which are proving more and more popular, which is fabulous. It's great to see you. Oh, look, I've done it again. My glasses. I really don't like wearing my glasses. I need to remember to take them off at the beginning before the video starts. So,
is my lights? Are my lights too bright in my head?
Listen, if I did that, I'd have planes landing in the street. I'm joined this evening by a very, very good friend of mine who I've been on cruises with. Love to bits. She's absolutely fabulous. It's Kirsty from Norwegian Cruise Line. Hi, Kirsty. How are you?
I'm very well, Martin. And how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. So, still here, still going through, bringing these fabulous programs and cruises to life for people. You know, nobody can go out and look at themselves at the moment, so at least we can bring them to the sofa. So but yeah, we sailed on Norwegian Encore, didn't we?
It seems like 2 minutes ago since we were on Norwegian Encore enjoying ourselves.
It was fabulous, wasn't it? Couple of nights, although we got in Southampton a little bit earlier than we should have, so but that was due to the weather. But that's sailing for you and cruising, isn't it? You never know what's going to happen. So, but no, it was a fabulous ship, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later in the show. And the restaurant we ate in, which was lush. So, Kirsty is going to bring Norwegian Cruise Lines to life for you and tell you exactly what they've been up to, ready for when they sail, what's going on, what the ships are all about, because there's so many variations of your ships, which are fabulous. So I'm going to hand over to Kirsty now, and she's going to give you a little bit of info, and then we'll be back later on for our usual Q&A, guys. If you remember to pop your comments down below, I don't know if I do that the right way around, but down below or to the side, and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. So it's over to you, Kirsty.
Perfect. Right. Well, I've hopefully got some information here that you can see now to share with you about Norwegian Cruise Lines. It's great to be here to have the opportunity to speak to you about NCL. I know many of you may have cruised before, many of you have thought about cruising before, never actually taken that step to get on board just yet. But I want to just share with you what Norwegian Cruise Lines is about, where we've come from, a little bit of our history, what we've been doing in the last almost 12 months. Well, we've all been going through the COVID situation, but you know, the future is very bright. We're looking forward to getting back to sea. And I want to tell you all about the product and what Norwegian Cruise Lines has to offer. So just to give you a bit of a background on Norwegian Cruise Lines, we're not the most popular in terms of being known, well-branded cruise line in the UK. We're much better known in the US market. It doesn't mean to say that we are a new cruise line, because actually we are older than many of some of our competitors. Norwegian Cruise Lines actually has been around now for 53 years, in fact going on 54 this year, and we'll be celebrating our 54th birthday this year. We're actually part of the world's third largest cruise company. So we have two sister brands that you may or may not have heard of, but one is Regent Seven Seas, which is a 6-star ultra luxury cruise line, and then we have Oceania, which is more of a boutique cruise line, and there are two sister cruise lines. And between all three brands, we have a total of 26 ships currently. 17 of them are in the Norwegian Cruise Lines fleet. But we really are an innovator, and we did bring some first to the world of cruising. For example, we were the first cruise line to actually offer Caribbean cruises. So we actually sailed from Southampton out to Miami, and then we started Caribbean cruises from Miami, and that was back 54 almost years ago. We were actually the first cruise line to have our own private island, which is Great Stirrup Cay, which many of our guests visit on our Caribbean cruises. We were the first cruise line to launch children's clubs at sea, which was back in 1980, believe it or not. The children were coming on board, but we actually said, right, let's give these children something to do that can occupy them and let their parents have a holiday while they're on board the ship as well. We were the first cruise line to have internet at sea, and we were the first cruise line to launch a supersized ship, which was actually Norwegian Epic back in 2010. Now, since then, we've actually also launched our first private destination. We launched a private destination back in 2016, which is Harvest Key. Slightly different from having a private island. You know, when we go to our private destination, we have some pool bars, we have cabanas for our guests if they want to get off the beach. They can sit in their own private cabanas with showers, TVs, there's shops, there's restaurants, there's bars there. So it's slightly different from going to a private island. But Norwegian Cruise Line really does have something that is perfect for everybody, regardless of your age, generation, if you're traveling as a couple, if you're traveling as a family, or you're traveling as a group, which is something we're seeing a lot of at the moment in terms of bookings for the future. We're seeing lots of multi-generational families traveling together, and we're seeing you know, a lot of groups of friends booking to travel together too. So we do actually cruise the world. As I mentioned, we've got 17 ships, and we visit 122 different countries and over 300 ports of call. There is nowhere really that Norwegian Cruise Lines doesn't go, and we have some of the most amazing and exciting itineraries, which I will talk about in more detail later. Naturally, with Europe being on our backyard almost to see, we've got 8 ships that are based out of Europe. At the moment, we've got some really exciting itineraries down in Australia. The guests are booking. Asia, South America, we've got some really great itineraries down there. Alaska is one of my personal favourites, having been twice. We actually have a ship that's based down in Hawaii and actually sails in and out of Hawaii, so it's a very unique experience down there. Haven't been to Hawaii myself yet, but it's definitely on my bucket list. And then we go to places like Antarctica, we go to Africa, lots and lots of choice if you're looking to do something different, especially when we've not had the chance to holiday now for 12 months, people are booking the more exotic itineraries. So, as mentioned, over the last 12 months, we actually started the suspension of our programme back in March 2020. We didn't think by any stretch that we would still be in at a point where we're suspended at the moment. Our current suspensions are up until the end of April 2021. At that point, back in March 20, we took all of our ships back out the water, so to speak. We got all of our guests repatriated home, and we repatriated most of our crew. But through that time, we've remained a very financially stable company. We are actually listed on the FTSE stock exchange. So basically, we've had secured fundings over the time where we've been out the water. We secured 2.25 billion back in May last year, and then a further 1.4 billion in July, which means that we can comfortably keep operating in these unprecedented and challenging times. However, we have to say that the booking curve for us has been strong, and despite the current situation with COVID, we are actually trading in a positive position versus same time last year, and actually same time 2 years ago as well, which gives us a better benchmark. So the confidence is there. People do definitely want to travel. People are booking to travel. It's just a case of when can we travel that we're all waiting to find out. Now, to give our customers peace of mind about travelling and giving them flexibility all the way through to 2022, we have our peace of mind policy, which means that when you book, you can actually amend your holiday, or you can take the opportunity to suspend your holiday up to 15 days before you travel. Now, as it stands at the moment, if we have got guests booked and we are taking the decision through no obviously choice of our own that we do have to suspend further sailings, guests will either be offered, well, actually now they just get a straight refund on their money that they've actually paid, and they'll get a discount off a future cruise. However, if you were booked on the earlier sailings, guests were offered future cruise credits, 125% of the value of what they'd paid for their holiday. and they can be redeemed all the way through to 2022. So we've actually extended the booking window on any of those future cruise credits because they did have an expiry on them of 12 months. We've extended them through to the end of December 21 for travel through to December 22. And as mentioned, if you have got a booking and you choose to suspend it yourself, you can use our peace of mind policy, which basically means you take your deposit and you can put it onto a future cruise credit for when you're next ready to book, or you can actually rebook for a future holiday further out that you want to go on. So we have been working really closely with the CDC, the Centres of Disease Control, through this time, because when we do return to sea, we want to make sure that we are the safest holiday option available for guests. This really is a work in progress, and mainly because things are changing so rapidly with the COVID situation. Naturally, we're all going through a point now where people are being vaccinated, which changes the goalposts all the time as well. But we put together a plan. We have a panel of scientific experts that are working alongside not just ourselves, but one of our competitors actually, to make sure that returning to cruise can be safe for everyone. And it's something that all cruise lines can actually use moving forwards. Now, the plan does actually have 74 different points to it. As I say, those are changing and evolving all the time. Some of them are no longer required. Some of them we are trying to fine tune. Some of them in the future may not be required as we head back towards sea. But there's always been 6 different protocols and pillars that we've been working around as a bare minimum, and everything else stems out from there. So naturally, we're going to have enhanced screening protocols, both for crew and for guests coming on board. Increased sanitisation measures. I mean, Norwegian Cruise Lines are always famous for the sanitisation anyway. We have our crew on board that call themselves the washy man, and they encourage everybody to wash their hands before they go into any of the dining and any of the public areas. So we're going to increase the sanitisation, which will go further into the staterooms as well, and they will have full deep cleans with all the soft furnishings as well, and between turnarounds. We have all new air filtration systems going into the fleet, which are actually medical grade air filtration systems. And we're going to conduct responsible social distancing both while we're on the ship, but also while we're on shore as well. We'll have enhanced medical resources available on the ship as well. At the moment, we've got plans for having actual quarantine areas should we require them. But we will actually be upscaling the staffing numbers when it comes to the medical resources on board, and the type of facilities that we actually offer. And likewise, everything that we do on the ship, we're going to extend that to shore, so that we know that our guests and our crew can both be safe while they're off enjoying their excursions. As mentioned, there are 74 different points, so this isn't even sketched on the surface, but we do take it seriously. Our priority is basically the safety and the health of our crew and all of our guests, and we look forward to welcoming both back on board. So now what I want to do is give you a little bit of an insight as to what life looks like on NCL. I think that basically puts everybody in the mood for getting on holiday and getting back to sea. So let me just explain a little bit to you about Norwegian Cruise Lines and what makes it different. So our ethos on board is all about freedom and flexibility. Now, I've personally been cruising since 2002. Cruising has actually changed. The way I want to take my holidays has actually changed, and I don't necessarily want the pomp and ceremony that I might have wanted in my earlier days in cruising. So it's all about choice and flexibility for our guests. We go heavily into a choice of dining. So on our trips, you can experience up to 22 different dining venues on board to actually choose from. So you don't have to dine in the same place every night with the same people every night, and the same type of restaurant every night. We also have a really wide choice of accommodation. So we have everything, and I'll go into this a little bit more detail shortly, but everything from studios that accommodate one guest all the way through to our suites that can accommodate some of them actually up to 8 guests. So there's a choice for everybody to suit everybody's budgets. Now, one of my favourite things on board the ship is definitely the entertainment, and we've got such a wide choice of entertainment, from live shows to live music, to magicians and illusionists, to the Beatles on board. So we have a lot of choice of entertainment to get you through the different evenings that you're on board, and you don't have to go and see the same thing every night. And as mentioned earlier, we visit a really wide choice of fantastic and exciting destinations. And for me, cruising is brilliant to see many different destinations, because some of the places that cruise ships go, you may not be confident to go and take a land holiday and take in all of those places. And then, as mentioned, we've also got the peace of mind, which gives you, again, the flexibility to change your plans should you want to once you've made the booking. So on board, you can wear whatever you want. There's no formal dress code, so we don't expect our guests to be packing a tuxedo and spending their nights in the Caribbean under the stars, actually feeling too hot because they're wearing a tuxedo. There's no such thing as a formal night, so you'll never get turned away from the restaurant because you're not wearing your tiara. And you can eat wherever you want. You don't have to make a reservation. There's no fixed seatings. There's no fixed dining times. You can come and go as you please. Many of our guests, because of the restaurants we have on board, how popular they are, do book in advance. And for me, that's always part of my holiday planning before I go. So you can actually look at them through myncl.com, and you can book them in advance before you get on board too. And as mentioned, we've got a lot of different choices and accommodation types to suit every guest's needs as well, and every party size needs too. Because, as mentioned, there's a lot of multi-generational families travelling together. And again, we find that some grandparents want to take a suite, and the families may want to take just a balcony cabin, and you might have someone travelling in the group on their own that can take a solo. So we really have a lot of flexibility in how we can actually accommodate you once you're actually on the ship. So talking about accommodation, you'll see here from top left the different accommodations that we have. This is our studio. I am going to talk about the studios in more detail shortly, so that just gives you a brief photo of what it actually looks like. Then we have our inside cabins. All of the cabins actually do have ensuite facilities. Naturally, they have a fridge, hairdryer, so you have your TV in there. So the facilities are what you would expect in a good hotel anywhere in the world. Ocean view is very similar to our inside, except it does actually have a window. We then have our balconies, which naturally open out onto the sea, so you can sit out there, take in the sea view, sit in your balcony, possibly enjoy a cup of coffee, come into port in the morning. Mini suites are slightly bigger than your balcony cabins, and then we have our spa mini suites as well, which are located closer to the spa area for guests who enjoy to use the spa facilities. So I mentioned we'd go into more detail about studios, because for me, these are an absolute gem. We've got a lot of guests that do travel on their own for whatever reason. We've got guests that do travel with friends that would like just to have their own accommodation if they're traveling as singles, as friends. So they're great for various different reasons. If you are traveling on your own, it is great because you get to meet like-minded travellers. You'll see on the left here, the picture is a picture of one of our studio staterooms. Now, they are fairly compact and bijou, but they have everything that you would want from a full-size bed. It does have a window. The window, you can actually look out into the corridor area, and it is a one-way window, so nobody can look in on you, but you can look out. So it just gives you a little bit more of a social aspect from the inside out. We've also got your toilet with your own shower. You've got a flat screen TV. One of the additional things that I like about it, and you'll have seen this on the left when it was moving around, is that we actually have a studio lounge for guests. Now, it is only accessed by studio guests with their cabin key, so they have to have that to go into the studio lounge area. Once they're in there, there's complimentary coffee, espressos, snacks throughout the day. You can get the room service menu in there if you want to. Wanted to have that for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. But also in there too, it means that people can get together. You can make plans if you want to. We have whiteboards up so that if guests want to write where they want to dine, does anybody want to join them, you can make a reservation together. And likewise, we're going off on excursions. The real great thing about it is there's no additional supplement like you would do if you were taking a stateroom that would sleep 2 guests or more. You know, you pay your studio stuff, you pay for your studio, and that is it. It makes it much more affordable for our guests that travel as solos to go on holiday. And we've got studio cabins available on a wide range of our ships, so you'll get them on Escape, Breakaway and Getaway, which you'll generally find either in the Caribbean over winter, or you'll find them in Europe in the summer. Same with Epic, you'll find her in Europe in the summer, Caribbean in the winter. Pride of America, which I mentioned, is our ship that is actually out in Hawaii. So if you want to go to Hawaii and take in Hawaii, and we accommodate solo guests there too. And then we also have solo studios on Bliss, Joy and Encore, which are our 3 newest ships to the fleet as well. So there's lots of choice of destinations you can visit if you're on your own, and you want to go and meet other people staying in a similar situation. If you would rather have an inside cabin that would accommodate 2, but for sole occupancy, or a balcony, you can actually book those. You obviously will pay based on the supplements there as well. But in terms of the studio access to the communal area, you can't actually access that unless they usually have a set time in the day where they have a solo get together, and that's usually hosted in the studio communal area. So at that point, you'll be invited in to come and meet with the other guests. So you're not actually left out in any way, shape or form if you want to take a normal stateroom across the run of the ship. You can actually come and meet with the other guests. And then we have our havens. So haven for me is it's like a small ship within a large ship, and it's for our guests who just want a little bit more attention, a little bit of a larger accommodation. It's our suite class on board our ships. Now, it's a very affordable suite class in comparison to some of our other competitors, and it does come with some great benefits to it as well. So you have a 24-hour cruise concierge on board and a butler who will look after your every need. You have access to the haven courtyard and private pool, which has a sun deck, hot tub and a fitness area there. Children are actually welcome to the haven pool, and they're welcome in the courtyard area. However, the courtyard is actually in 2 different levels, so children are only welcome on the bottom level of the courtyard. The higher tiered area is actually for adult guests only, unless we're actually sailing away from a port, or if you're cruising in Alaska, then children are allowed to go on the higher deck of the haven courtyard. You get priority embarkation and disembarkation, not just on embarkation and disembarkation day, but at every port of call as well. And you also get everything that is part of our Free at Sea programme, which I'll give you more details later, automatically included into the price of your haven suite. As mentioned, it is a personalised service, so you do get invited to cocktail parties with the ship officers. When it comes to tender service, if we're not actually docked at a port, you get priority onto the tenders. Even when you get in the lift, actually, when you put in your haven key card, it bypasses every other deck and goes straight to the deck that you want to go to. The staterooms actually have mini bars. They have your Nespresso coffee machines in there. They have both sound systems. So you also have access to the haven restaurant, which is exclusively for haven guests, and you can have your breakfast or your lunch or your evening meal in there as well. Albeit we find that our guests do tend to want to go and eat around the ship because of how great the choices are and the dining venues that we have. And your concierge can book them for you when you're on board. You get priority seating in the theatre as well. So there's lots of little extras there for you. So let's have a look now at some of our dining. So we do have a wide choice of dining available for guests on board. We actually have some complimentary dining options. So we have up to 3 a la carte restaurants on the ship. Each of the a la carte restaurants do carry the same menu as each other each evening, albeit every evening the menu changes. So it means that you can eat in a different restaurant with a different decor and a different ambience, but you can still enjoy the same menu as you would with any of the other restaurants, a la carte restaurants that particular night. We have a 24-hour snack restaurant, which is actually one of my favourites to visit, generally called the Local or Sheehan's, but you can actually go there. It's not your run-of-the-mill snack restaurant because you can actually have a 3-course meal in there, and some of the food in there is amazing. You can have fajitas, you can have fish and chips, you can have my favourite chicken wings, you can have tacos, you can have burger and chips. There's lots of different dessert options, including cheesecake, which is one of the favourites in there, and starter options as well. So it's great to pop idea for something to eat if you're feeling a little bit peckish. We also have our buffet restaurant, the Garden Cafe, which is available for guests for breakfast, actually pretty much throughout the whole of the day, to be honest with you. The buffets will, at the moment, they are planned to run slightly differently. They will still be a buffet where you can go and make your choices. However, it's likely that you will be served by crew from behind the buffet rather than you help yourself. And then we have our Haven restaurant, which is exclusively for Haven guests, but it is complimentary to them. In addition, we have many specialty dining options as well. This is just going to give you a flavour of some of them. But again, one of my favourites is teppanyaki, where you sit round a hot plate and you will have your dinner prepared in front of you. Moderno is a Brazilian steakhouse. It's definitely one where you should not go to the Local or Oceanfront throughout the day and fill up on food, because this is like an eating challenge. It's where you go and they have about 20 different cuts of meat that they will serve you throughout the course of your meal. There's always a token salad bar, so if you want to have some salad alongside that, it works on a basis where you have a little card and you put it for green if you want them to come and serve you, and you put it at red if you want them to bypass you because you're feeling a bit full or you just want to take your time. So that's a great fun dining venue as well. Cagney's is where Martin and I had our dinner, which is our steakhouse on board the ship. I have to say, Cagney's is spectacular. Just don't get caught up in conversation while you're ordering. Because I remember when we had our dinner, Martin and I ordered king prawns. And when they came, they were like king prawns on steroids. They were huge. And then I actually ordered, I ordered a ribeye steak. I think it was a 16-ounce ribeye steak. And when I came, I hadn't realised the size it was going to be. It literally took up the entirety of my plate. So that's a great place to go and dine. And the smells when you walk in there, because you can actually see them cooking behind the pass. The smells are fantastic. And then the bistro is our French restaurant on board the ship as well, which we've actually partnered with Bear Clicquot in there. So you can have champagne, and you can have lobster tail, you can have escargot, it's beautiful in there. And then Ocean Blue is our seafood restaurant. And then Onda by Scarpetta is our new Italian restaurant on board. You'll find that on Encore and you'll find that on Spirit. But many of the other ships do have La Cucina, which is our Italian restaurant on there. The other thing I like about dining is that many of our restaurants, and you'll see it from the picture of Cagney's, is that you can actually dine outdoors. So we have what's called the Waterfront, where we take our restaurants actually out onto deck. So when you're in either the Mediterranean or the Caribbean, you can actually sit outside and take in the views as you're actually sailing as well. So I like the fact you can get out and get fresh air while you dine al fresco. So I mentioned a little bit about our entertainment and that we do have quite a choice and variety for guests to enjoy. So we've got Broadway shows that include performances from Footloose, Jersey Boys, Kinky Boots. Six is our newest one, which you may have seen recently because we've seen it on our own TVs, a little bit about it here. We do have music from around the world. We have on many of our ships the Cavern Club, so we have that on Epic, Bliss, Joy and on Encore. Definitely the most popular music venue on those ships by far. But one of my other favourites is Howl at the Moon, which is actually a bar where you have dueling pianos, and they will actually play music based on guest requests. So you make your request and they will then go and play what you want. So that's fantastic. We have also got ice bars on our ships if you want something a little bit different. And we've got our dinner shows if you want more of an experience. You can see the Illusionarium, we've got the Supper Club, and we've also got Cirque du Dreams, which is our sort of a Cirque du Soleil type show there. And we have actually won awards both in 2019 and obviously early, these are the most recent ones as well for our entertainment on board. So let's now have a little bit of a look and have a flavour of our entertainment.
Beheaded, survived, but just for you tonight, we're divorced, beheaded, live. Welcome to the show, to the history mix, switching up the flow as we add the prefix. Everybody knows that we used to be 6 wives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And there we go. That's another thing that I think we're all desperate to get back to, is to get back to the theatre. So once you get back on the ships as well, as mentioned, you've got those performances included in the price of your holiday. The actual theatre performances vary per ship, but we should be able to tell you that at the time of actual booking. So just to look a little bit more at our destinations and where we actually go to, as mentioned, our bookings are really, really strong. Guests at the moment are predominantly booking for 2022 and 2023, because I think until we see a return to sailing date, we're probably not going to see an uplift in bookings for 2021 until we know exactly what's going to be available to us. There are people booking predominantly, if they are booking 21, it's more October, November, December that we're actually looking at for that. So I mentioned that we are in the Mediterranean. Our most popular ship actually in the Mediterranean, and I say most popular, it's purely because a lot of guests want to try NCL for the first time, want to try cruising for the first time. So many people go for this short 7-night cruise around the Western Med. The ship sails out of Barcelona on a Sunday. As here, you'll see she is sailing here for 2021, but she does come back in 22 and 23, which is currently all available and on sale. But it's quite a port-rich itinerary, this one. You sail out of Barcelona, then you go down to Naples, where you can go down and visit Pompeii. Or if you want to do the Amalfi Coast, you can do that from there. Then it goes from there to Rome, which most people will take. The port is actually Civitavecchia. You will travel into Rome. It's about 45 minutes, and you can have a full day taking in the highlights of what Rome has to offer. And I always think for Rome, it's a great one to visit because you know you'll want to go back and spend longer there. I've been to Rome 8 times actually, 4 of them to do actual weekend breaks, because it's such an amazing city and it looks totally different by night than what it does from day. But it's a very popular port excursion. Then you go into Livorno, where you can visit Florence and Pisa. I've been to Livorno many a times, but actually very rarely got off the ship. And having got off the last time I was there, Livorno itself is a beautiful little town to go and have a look round. It's got beautiful canals. You can take little water taxis round and go and grab some lunch. But in the afternoon, I went off to Pisa and actually saw Pisa. So that was great to go off and see that. It was a lot more than what I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to see a tower and that was going to be it, but there's a lot more to that destination. And again, if you get a chance, you can go down and visit Florence. Then you go into Cannes, which is great. If you want, you can visit Cannes, or you can hop on the train and go down to Monte Carlo, or take an excursion down to Monte Carlo. And then from there, you go to Palma, spend the day in Palma before going back to Barcelona. Now, also, what is very popular for our guests is to actually visit the Greek islands, and we have a lot of itineraries actually now that do take in the Greek islands. This particular one, in Norwegian Pearl, going out of Athens, she actually will be there in 21, but in 22 and 23, Norwegian Jade will come and take Pearl's place doing the same type of itineraries. But they are beautiful because, you know, you will go out of Athens, and from there you can go down to Kusadasi, take in Mykonos, Santorini. Santorini is a beautiful destination to visit. You'll see that picture of the blue and white on the left-hand side. It's great fun, you know, to sort of either go up in the cable car and see the views, or you can go and do a little bit more exploring. Also take in Corfu and Argostoli, so very port rich. And for many people actually in 2020 who were fortunate to get on holiday, most people did actually end up going to Greece. And I think, you know, it sort of reignited with everybody how much of a fantastic country Greece actually is to visit. Also very popular with our guests is to go and visit Scandinavia, Russia and the Baltic. And in 2021, we've got Norwegian Escape there, but in 22 and 23, her sister ship, Norwegian Getaway, will sail out of Copenhagen. We go down to Warnemünde, where you can go off and visit Berlin. Then from there, we go down to Tallinn, we go to St. Petersburg, where we do an overnight, so you've got 2 full days in St. Petersburg. Again, most people will get off and do excursions here. It's easier to arrange your excursions with the cruise ship because then your visa is included as well. When we leave St. Petersburg, we go off to Helsinki and then off to Stockholm and back again to Copenhagen. So it's a really beautiful 9-night itinerary, that one. And then I did mention we have more on the Greek Isles in Italy. So we do 7 days Greek Islands, which takes in Mykonos and Croatia as well from Venice. So as you'll see there, we've got Dawn there this year, but in 22 and 23, we've got Norwegian Gem coming to Venice. You sail out of Venice, go down to Kotor, which is absolutely stunning. From Kotor, you then go down to Corfu, down to Mykonos, Santorini, Argostoli, up to Dubrovnik and back to Venice again. Or if you're looking for something slightly longer, we've actually got 10 nights out of Rome on Norwegian Getaway, May to October 22 and back again in 23. But basically we will do from Civitavecchia, you will then go down to Dubrovnik, you will go down to Naples, Kotor, Corfu, Mykonos, Florence and Pisa. So it just adds in a little bit more of Italy in addition to the Greek Isles. Or we've got another alternative there on the Escape from May June and October in 22 as well, taking in some of those beautiful destinations. You can see that one takes in Messina as well. So there's lots of choice and longer itineraries should you want them on great amenity-filled ships visiting the Greek Isles and Italy. Many people are making plans for 22 and 23, looking forward to do something a little bit different. And I just wanted to give you a flavour of some of the itineraries that we offer. So the first one that we've got here is a 11-day Iceland and Greenland cruise, which actually goes out of Reykjavik. This is departing in July 22. It is totally different. I'm not even going to try and pronounce half of the destinations in Greenland, but it does go to 3 different destinations within Greenland, and then it also goes to 2 different destinations in Iceland before going back to Reykjavik. So a really beautiful itinerary to take that one. Then we have a very, very popular, one of our top selling itineraries, which is the one to the right of that, the 13-day Australia, Brisbane, Darwin and Cairns from Sydney. Now this itinerary has been selling really, really well for months on end, but it literally goes from Sydney down to Brisbane. From Brisbane it goes to Airlie Beach, then up to Cairns, then it takes in Cooktown in Australia. We're going down to Darwin and then Komodo in Indonesia. Then it goes down to Bali and ends in Bali. So that is very popular, because what you could do if you want to plan for the future is actually add on a stay in Bali at the end of it. But it's a very popular itinerary. Or what we have recently put on sale actually is the sailing just after that. I think it's the 9th of April, where you can actually go out to Bali. So you can do a stay first, get on the ship, and then you can sail the reverse going back up to Sydney from there. And if you look to the bottom left, we've also got one going just before Christmas, the 6th of December, and travelling out to Singapore, which will take you down through Indonesia, visiting some beautiful islands, again taking in Bali. But that one actually ends up back in Sydney. So again, it takes you through Cookstown, Cairns, it takes you Airlie Beach and Brisbane, and then back up to Sydney again. So that's a nice 17-day itinerary that would be great for the month of December if we're back at sea to go away and get some winter sunshine. And for a lot of people as well, they like to tie it in with seeing family if you've got family in Australia for Christmas. And then the last one, again, one of our most popular selling itineraries. We've been running these itineraries actually for a while now, and they have always been hugely popular. So these ones actually sail out of Cape Town. This one's on the 26th of January 22, but it goes from Cape Town and takes in Mossel Bay in South Africa, Port Elizabeth. Then it goes down to Richards Bay in South Africa. So it's quite port rich in visiting destinations in South Africa. Then it goes to the Union before visiting Mauritius. And then from Mauritius, it goes over to the Seychelles, and it actually does 2 different ports in the Seychelles as well, before then heading down to Muscat and ending up in Dubai. So that, again, very, very popular itinerary and something a little bit different to look forward to. So you've heard me mention about Free at Sea. This is something that we offer as standard to our guests to add on to their holiday. The way that the programme generally works is that our guests can choose to pay a supplement. If a base on 7 days, it's £99. And for that £99, guests can then choose 2 out of 5 different offers. So just to tell you what the offers are first and foremost, the first one is an open bar, and it might not surprise you for me to say that it's actually one of our most popular choices that guests make. Open bar basically means that you've got your soft drinks, you've got cocktails, mocktails, red wine, rosy wine, you've got beers, lagers, ciders, spirits, branded spirits as well. You've got Prosecco by the glass. Literally, it's a fully extensive bar menu, which is why we call it an open bar, because literally there's nothing more or less that you can't get on there. There are some exceptions, but they can be purchased at a supplement with a discount because you have Free at Sea. For example, if you wanted to buy a bottle of champagne, you can buy a bottle of champagne and you'll get 20% off the price of the bottle. Our second choice, which is very popular with guests, is our specialty dining. Now, we looked at some of the specialty dining that is available, but with Free at Sea, if you're on a 7-night cruise, you get to enjoy 2 specialty dining experiences while you're actually on the tour, on your cruise. If you want to do more than 2, you can actually add more and upgrade your package should you want, or you can actually just add them as you go when you're on the ship. The next one is our shore excursion credits. So when you are choosing shore excursion credits, you will get awarded $50 per port per stateroom credit towards booking shore excursions. Now, that's a great option if you run some of these more interesting itineraries where certainly you know that you're going to want to get off the ship and you're going to want to take an excursion. You can actually transfer or bank all of your credit. It has to be used per port, and you can pre-book them before you go. Then we have the option of Wi-Fi, which guests will get 150 minutes Wi-Fi included. Or one of my favourite ones, if you're travelling as a group, subject to availability, great for families, or great for a group of friends travelling together. The third and fourth guest in the stateroom, subject to availability, will just pay the taxis. It's generally on off-season, so you'll find it available from September through to sort of April, sometimes in May as well, actually. But it's available, but it can make it really affordable for families to take a holiday. As I mentioned, where we've got Haven, if you're travelling as a group of perhaps 4 adult friends, girlfriends travelling together, male friends, whatever, our 2-bedroom suites accommodate 6 people. So that's a great option to look at to have a little bit more luxury. And as again, your third and fourth guest, subject to availability, will just pay the taxis. Now, the really good news is at the moment, we are actually offering guests 30% discount off their holiday price, which is, making our fares really, really attractive. So there's never been a better time to book, even if you're planning for 22 or 23. But in addition to that, if you add the free AC, you don't get the 2 of your options. You actually receive all packages, subject to that one with the third and fourth guest being available, but you will get your open bar, your specialty dining, your excursion credit, and you'll get your Wi-Fi for definite. So the offer that we have in the marketplace at the moment really is fantastic. So at the moment, I think we all could be doing with a little bit of a holiday break. You may have seen our more recent TV advertising campaign. So just to sort of put you in the mood and remind you what you can all escape to, let's have a look at what we have to offer.
Right about now, we all need a break.
I want to break free.
It's time to plan a getaway to a place where we can finally be free. Free from boundaries, limitations, even virtual backgrounds. Today, we break free.
I want to break free. I want to break.
Ready to break free? Plan your future getaway with Norwegian Cruise Line. Sail safe, feel free.
So I think that just leaves me to say we are looking forward to welcoming our new, our past, our guests and friends back on board when the time is right. And then now I think Martin and I will be happy to answer any questions as best as we can that you may have.
Added a lot to my bucket list to really have the Seychelles and South Africa. I just want to say that again, hon.
Your passport out.
Oh, it's ready. My bags are packed, and you know what I mean. If you say we're going tomorrow back on to Encore, I'm with you. You can pick me up on the way. You're only up the road.
Absolutely. So it's a table book and cabbies again.
Oh well, brilliant. I mean, NCL. I mean, it's freestyle cruising. You do what you want, when you want, where you want. Is my way of saying. It's not traditional cruising where you've got set dining or anything like that. And if you can't find somewhere to eat on NCL, then there's something wrong. There really is.
Yeah, there's so much choice, and I think, you know, I mean, I am a big cruising fanatic, and I've been cruising now since 2002. And you know, now we're all busy at work. You know, we all have a hectic lifestyle. And when I go away, I want to take life at my own pace. I don't really necessarily want to be stuck to any regimentation. I like choice and variety. A lot of people do. You know, it's like when you think about going to a normal holiday resort, a lot of people like to go out and enjoy different types of restaurants and different types of bars and entertainment. And really, that's what NCL offers. And the quality and the standards on board really are exceptional. You know, I've been working now for Norwegian Cruise Lines for 4 years. And I had been on a couple of ships before I started working for Norwegian Cruise Line, but when I got on board, it really was not what I expected, because ships really are beautiful, they're luxurious, they're glamorous, and there's a really great mixture, I personally think, of the best of what most other cruise lines offer rolled into one place. So I have to say, you know, it really is a fantastic brand. As I say, like it's very, very well known in the US market, because, you know, they have been around there for 54 years. We don't actually go out and openly market as much, or we haven't done in the past in the UK market, so that's why people may not know us as well as they know our competition. But once you try NCL, you will never look back, and certainly with the 3HC added value package, you know, you've got everything rolled into your holiday. There's nothing really more that you can want to add than what you've got there. You know, you've got drinks covered a lot. So it is fantastic. It's a great holiday option, and the service is brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, Monica's just put up, you know, agreeing with what we're saying, fantastic food on NCL. I mean, I know when we were on Encore together, Cagney's, oh, what a night that was. I absolutely loved it. I'm a big steak connoisseur. If anybody knows me, you'll have seen my tomahawk steaks for Valentine's nights.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
But yeah, I love my steaks, and you know they are amazing, and the different types of steak as well. So you've got something for everyone, that, you know, whatever they want. So that's.
But you know, I'm so glad that Monica said that, actually, because there is so much choice of different places to eat, and you know, that's why I think having specialty dining included. And me personally, you know, I would probably buy an additional element to the package to give me more choices to try different places on board. Because like, if you're on a 7-night, for example, you get 2 specialty dining venues included. But I would personally add some more onto that before I went. And the other thing that I would definitely recommend people do is, before you travel, explore, you know, and research the dining that is available on board, and book them before you go as well. You know, because there is such a choice. You know, like Cagney's is definitely one of my favourite. Tappagnac is one of my favourite. You know, Onda by Scarpetta. There's just so much choice of things to do. So I always say to people, definitely add it in, and definitely, you know, book it before you go. So, and you can change it. You know, you're not stuck to that reservation. You can change it once you get on board if you want to. But at least guests know then that they are, you know, they have got some of their dining booked in. You know, it's interesting because some of my colleagues this very time last year were on the newly sort of a reimagined Norwegian Spirit. And one of my colleagues posted his Facebook memory yesterday of the food while he was on there. And I mean, I absolutely love a prawn cocktail, as you know, Martin, because I was at the Cagney's. And I don't know where they source the prawns from when they're on the ship, but they are just like the biggest prawns I've ever seen in my life. And he posted that yesterday, and I just thought, I really wish I was back there now.
Yeah, we're all dreaming about being back on those cruise ships, and I call it roll on, roll off. You know, because you eat your weight, you put on a stone at least in a week.
Exactly. But the thing is, it's great news that we are on sale now, not just for 21, but 22 and 23 and into 24 as well. So, you know, we've purposely put our product range on sale early so that guests can forward plan. You know, it's like we've all missed pretty much a year of travelling. And I think when you take it for granted when you can do it every year, don't you? And I think, you know, the fact that we've not been able to go to the places we'd want to go to, people are now broadening their horizons. And all those bucket list destinations, people are bringing them forward and wanting to plan and organise it now. So it's really great that we've got all these amazing itineraries, and we have got some gorgeous itineraries on sale. I mean, I know we obviously featured some of them in the presentation before. But we really do have some beautiful itineraries, and actually, you know, as a company, our booking trends are up year on year, and actually versus the 2 years previous as well. So we're getting to a point now where this time last year, business was starting to slow a little bit because we were starting to go into the start of the pandemic. So we're actually comparing ourselves not just to 2020, but to where were we at in 2019. And our sales are hugely up, which is brilliant, but it's because people are, it really is brilliant, and it's encouraging. And this is why, you know, it's like me and the whole team that I work for, we're all working, we've all worked the whole way through it, because we are busy trying to help our existing guests and a lot of new guests as well forward plan their future holidays, because we have it there for people to book. So it is great that you know, people can start looking and having a bit of a research on places that they want to go.
I think you're right. Do I seem very echoey? Can somebody type? It seems a bit funny. I keep getting feedback. If you can't hear me, guys, just let me know. But we'll carry on. So, Kirsty, I mean, NCL, known the great ships. There's all kinds of different ships because you've been around for so long, and different variations of the ships. But one thing that you mentioned was about solos, and I'm pleased to say that this evening I've got a very good friend of mine who's should be joining us live from London, is Pete from Cruises for Solos. Hello, Pete. How are you?
Hi, Martin. Hi, Kirsty.
Hi, Pete. How are you? You all right?
I'm good. Martin, thank you so much for having me on the show. I've really enjoyed it, Kirsty, by the way. I so want to cruise. I'm representing Cruises for Solos, solo cruisers. And Kirsty, do you know something? Martin, it's okay if I ask a few questions, yeah?
Well, go on then. I'll charge you £1 for each one you ask.
I mean, Kirsty, I don't think people realise, first of all, just how amazing that Norwegian Cruise Line are for solo cruisers. I mean, I like what you talked about with the solo cabins, and you went through the studio as well. But I mean, I first cruised with Princess as a solo, but I didn't know what to do. Had a wonderful time, discovered cruising, loved it, but no real solo things going on. Then I researched it a bit more, and I discovered Norwegian Cruise Line, and I booked the epic transatlantic cruise as my first cruise with you. I think in 2017, by the way. I did the back-to-back, which is incredible. And I just want to let people out there know before I ask the questions that it's not just the studio lounge that you have. What you do for solos is just incredible. And I want to say thank you as a solo cruiser. You've made it affordable for me to go on a cruise now. Yeah. And not just that, with the studio lounge, what you didn't talk about is that there's always a meeting in the studio lounge, normally between 6 and 7 o'clock, where you don't have to go, but you can do, where all the solos meet in the studio lounge, get to know each other, have a little chat and have a drink. On the Epic, the bar opens there as well, which is fantastic. You've got the best coffee machine on the ship in there, by the way, in the Epic Lounge, which is fantastic. But what we're able to do is we're able to also go out and eat as a group, because what you do is you have one of your entertainers who's part of the solos, who's in charge, who's with us the whole week, and they organize things like going for a meal if you want to, going to see a show if you want to, and that part of it is just incredible, and it makes it such a wonderful time for solo cruisers. So I just wanted to say, I don't think people out there realize just how much you do, so I wanted to pass it on to you first of all.
No, it's brilliant, and I think, you know, I can't believe it took you to 2017 to actually discover that Epic had that, actually, because obviously Epic launched in 2010, so you lost 7 years of spectacular solo cruising.
Kirsty, I only discovered cruising in 2015, unfortunately.
Oh, well, okay, so you only lost two years of it, so that's fine. But
yeah, I've got a few questions, if you don't mind, and a few things from the solo community. As I said, we've got a solo group called Cruises for Solos, and from all over the world, basically. One of the questions is, once we restart cruising, I mean, as I said, the thing is going into solo lounge, you know, and getting to know people, getting to meet people is wonderful. How is it going to be for a solo cruiser with the social distancing when you restart, first of all?
Well, I think, you know, first and foremost, we don't actually know when we are going to restart. So that's the first thing. You know, at the moment, actually, only yesterday we suspended the month of May, which was a bit of a shame. So it's looking at the earliest at the very earliest. It could be June by the time we restart. And I think the thing with all of this is, at the moment, we have to follow the guidelines of the CDC, the Centres of Disease Control. And naturally, the thing that we will always reiterate is that, the safety of our guests and our crew are the priority to us in everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
So between now and when we get back to sea, where we're at now in terms of following CDC guidelines, these could evolve and completely change by the time we actually get back to sea. We do need to maintain social distancing as it stands. Naturally, people are now being vaccinated. Whether that will change the guidelines, I don't know. But what we do want to try and deliver across the fleet with everything that we do is the guest experience that an NCL cruise guest is used to, whether they be a solo traveller or whether they be travelling as a family or a couple or whatever. So we will try our best to maintain everything that we offer solo guests in terms of, again, it's like, capacity. Do we know what capacity is going to look like? Are we going to sail full? Probably not initially, but we know what capacity are we going to travel. We don't know the answer to that question yet either. By the time we get back to sea, we will try to maintain as normal a service as we can do and get in line with the CDC guidelines and the other governments and authorities as well.
Yeah, we totally understand that. I've got a few more questions, Martin. That's okay.
Go on.
Okay. Your new ship, the Leonardo class ships that are coming up, which look incredible, by the way. Are you? I think you're talking June 2022. Are you launching these? If I'm correct.
That's it. Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Is there? Do you have the studio lounge on these new class ships, and are there solo studios?
No, I actually can't answer that question, and the reason I can't answer that question is because Miami are keeping completely quiet about anything with regards to Leonardo as yet. They've released nothing. I think my vice president, he's seen some information on it, but that's the level that it's staying at. So at the moment, I'm going to have to wait with bated breath, like yourself, to find out what's available. But my instinct would be to say, yes, it will have, because it is such a success across all of the ships that have been launched since 2010. So that's when Epic was launched, and obviously we've had Breakaway, Getaway, Escape, Bliss, Joy, Encore since then, and they all have it. So my instinct would be to say, yes, we will have it, but do I actually know? I don't, because nobody's sharing that information just yet.
It's so important from us solos, because other cruise lines out there are starting to get into the solo cruising now, which is wonderful. They have solo cabins out there, which is great as well. But nobody has the studio lounge and has an entertainer with people. So that's that part of it. You do that so well. So that's so important. There's a few other questions. One of the things, when you offer an upgrade situation where you can bid to upgrades, but we're not allowed to do that from the studio at all. Are you thinking about that at any point? Because one of the things I would say, Kirsty, is that some of the solos who love the studio cabins, by the way, that at the beginning we might be a little bit concerned in case something happens and having to social distance, to self-isolate in the cabin. And so they would prefer maybe to think about a balcony, but can't necessarily afford a balcony. So if you're in an inside cabin, you could actually you can bid to upgrade to a balcony, which is an amazing thing that Norwegian do. But if you're in a studio cabin, we can't do it. We don't have that option. Do you think at any point that you might relook at that at all?
Possibly. And again, when we return to sea, I don't really know what it's going to look like. And again, the fact that we probably won't sail to full capacity gives us a little bit more flexibility in what we can do on board in terms of, the cabin availability and what particular cabins that we would use. I mean, the other thing is, from Norwegian's perspective, it's definitely an advantage for us to let people experience other great cabins, because the likelihood is if they try a balcony, they would want to go back to a balcony again in the future if they see the value in it. So again, it's not something that's been written or said or made any decisions on it. We'll just need to wait and see what happens when they do come back to see as to whether they'll.
If you could, maybe you could do some kind of latitudes reward solo thing where we have an option as a latitudes reward for people who are cruise to actually upgrade to a balcony, as you said, because once you get in a balcony, it's incredible.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of questions from Alison, who asked, she asked me a question about the first of all, the credit card. In America, you can use the American credit card and you can get rewards. And are you thinking about doing that for the UK at all? She asked me to ask you that question.
Yeah, not at the moment. There's not been any discussions about any of that at the moment.
Okay.
There's certain things we can do in the US market that we just can't do in the UK market for whatever reason. So I've heard nothing about that for the UK as yet.
And Alison also said, are you thinking maybe, is it a possibility when we restart cruising that because it might be small steps at the beginning, that you might think about doing some UK cruises from Southampton this year at some point? Are you thinking about doing that maybe?
Well, I mean, we do obviously have a programme scheduled to do cruises from Southampton. They're predominantly Brown Britain, British Isles type cruises. Some of them go over to Iceland and to Reykjavik. So we intend at the moment to continue to run that programme. What we at NCL don't want to do is we don't want to jump ahead and just cancel things because there's so much hangs on how we return to sea, when we return and where we actually return as well, because certainly it may be easier to cruise round Britain, it may be easier to cruise round Europe. So we're going to have to wait and see where we can return first and foremost. If that is out of Southampton and the ship is scheduled to do it, then we will carry on and do that. And we do that certainly. We have it on sale now obviously we've been on sale for 21 for quite some time. And we've got plans to go ahead with that if we can go ahead with it. We've got it on sale for 22 as well and now into 23. So the itineraries are there. It will be interesting as well to see when we do actually sail, because I think what they will have to do is they'll have to probably do tester cruises. Well, in fact, we will have to do tester cruises. But I don't actually know how those are going to operate at the moment. It may be that they'll do special latitude guest tester cruises. It may be that they do tester cruises where we spend more time on the ship and less time going into port. So there's a lot of different questions about how the operation can come back and where we come back to. So yeah, we'll just have to sit tight and watch for that one.
Thanks, Kirsty. We've got so many solo cruisers that are desperate to get on a cruise ship. And what I would say to any solo cruisers out there, with the solo deals that you do, with the studio lounge and the free at sea that you get, I mean, it's just a no-brainer. So thank you. Love it. I mean,
it is. The free at sea is great because, like you say, if you want to dine together, you've got a dining package. Everybody's got the drinks covered, so nobody's embarrassed about, buying drinks and everything like that. You've got your drinks package included. And at the moment, because you're getting everything, you can stay connected because you've got your Wi-Fi. And again, where you are going to different ports of call, you've got a bit of shore excursion credit there that you can put towards treating yourself to an excursion and going off. And exploring, and you can explore together again. Like we say, we can organise excursions that you all want to go on together. So, some people may just book their excursions when they get on board. Yeah, having that entertainment with us makes such a difference. It really does. So thank you, Martin. Thank you for allowing me to come on to meet you, Kirsty, and thank you from all solo cruisers. Well, we will look forward to welcoming you all back on board for definite.
Thanks for coming on, Pete. We really do appreciate it. And if anybody else is out there that wants to come on at any time when we are doing the shows, feel free to come and, talk to us live. That's what these are all about, coming to your sofa. Right, Pete, I will knock you out the studio now and put you in the green room. I've got no sandwiches or coffee or anything on, or any wine, but, you can have a chat amongst yourselves. So, but Pete, thanks for joining us, and I hope you got all the answers, and we'll certainly get you some exclusives when we know about if we can get you them. So I'm sure Kirsty would love to get you an exclusive at some point. So definitely look forward to it. Thank you. Brilliant, excellent. So Kirsty, so that was quite nice for Pete to pop in, wasn't it? Pete? It was lovely. It was really nice, and it's great that he's been on board and he's got so many different, people that he travels with his group. So it's great for him to come on and be able to actually say genuinely what he feels about cruising as a solo guest with NCL. It's really good. So we had a few more questions. I mean, one's on about the dining times. And I think, to be honest, the good thing with NCL, Becky's asked, so with no set dining times, is it a case of just walking into a restaurant or booking a time on board? Well, you can walk up, can't you? But then on the ships, they've got the big screens, haven't they, to tell you how busy the restaurants are. And you can book it if you want, or you can just say, well, actually, I'll go to Cagney's, or, you know, go Moderno because it's not busy now. So it's very...
It's so clever how they do it. And like you say, you're right, Martin, they do have screens around the ship. Everywhere you go, you can see the screens, and it's like a traffic light system. So if a restaurant is shown as green, then you can walk in there and then and be seated. If it's shown as amber, then you know it's fairly busy. If it's shown as red, there's no chance you're going to get in, so you know to look at something else. But if it's amber, you know, you can go into most restaurants and there's always a bar either adjoining or nearby. So what they will do is tell you how long a table is likely to be and tell you to go off and get a drink. So generally they can accommodate you. But if there was a special occasion or something that particularly you wanted to book, then you could book it on the day or the day before or whatever. But they have managed to really fine tune the dining on the ships, and it's because they have so many different choices of restaurants really to go to.
Brilliant. There was a couple with regards, and I think you covered it in. I will ask the question, but I think you did actually cover the fact that it's a fast-moving environment. A couple of people have asked about mask wearing, but I think that's going to be dependent on FCDO advice and the CDC advice at the time of starting cruising. Would you not say?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it was the 29th of January. The CDC actually came out and said that when we do resume cruising, then guests will be required to wear a mask. And as it stands at the moment, that is the requirement. And because obviously the safety of our crew and our guests is our priority, as well as the communities that we visit when we go to ports of call, we will follow protocol of the CDC because it is one of the conditions of us returning to sea is that guests will have to wear masks. Now, as I mentioned, things are evolving all the time, which is why realistically, I mentioned it in the presentation, we've got 74 points that we have to follow as it stands now to return to sea. By the time we actually get back to sea in June, if we come back in June, that could be down to 20 points because things are evolving so quickly. So, you know, yes, as of today, you have to wear a mask when we return to sea. Will that actually change by the time we do come back? You know, we'll just have to wait and see. But we do have to follow the protocols of the CDC just to make sure that our guests and our crew are all kept as safe and healthy as they possibly can, and they can enjoy their holiday and their time when they are working on board from the cruise perspective.
And I think the cruise line are great at actually putting things out, and they let people know as soon as they know. And rather than giving them too much information, saying you got to do this, they'll give it to you at the right time. Won't they telling you your cruise is going in a month? This is what your procedures and protocols are going to be. I think that's the best way, rather than all this information going, oh, you'll have to do this or you'll have to do that. Let's just wait and see at the time when we start sailing on those lovely ocean waves with a cocktail in hand, what it's going to look like. And do you know what? I'm going to put my head on the line. If I have to wear a mask to walk around a ship, but then I go and have my drink, you know, and I can sit in a bar without my mask on. I can go and sit in the restaurant without my mask on, but I just need to move when I'm moving between the bar and the restaurant, or go into the theatre. I wear my mask at home, you know.
That's it.
So it's not, to me, it's not going to be that much different. And that's from a cruiser point of view, not just a travel agent point of view. It's like, it's no different. At least I'd be on a cruise and I'd be having fabulous cocktails, great food, and watching an amazing show like Kinky Boots or Priscilla or Six, you know, whatever it may be, and you know, at least in a nice environment. So you know, it's I'd do it, and you know, it wouldn't bother me. But then you know, give it time, and we won't be like that. We'll be back to normal, you know, sooner rather than later. It'll be there soon. I think we've covered all the questions I think that came through, which is fabulous. We covered mask wearing. Alison from Cruising for Solars is volunteering for a tester cruise. Alison, I think you'll be behind me and Kirsty. I think Kirsty at the front.
I'm with you there. Yeah, if they're looking for volunteers, I'm definitely. My case is packed already.
Kirsty, it's been an absolute pleasure this evening. You know, talking to you. There is just two questions, which I don't know whether you're going to be able to answer, but I will ask. So I'm putting you on the spot now, and I did say I wouldn't. But one is about COVID passports. Now, it's in the news at the moment, isn't it? And I think, for me personally, I think we're just going to have to wait. Again, it's Foreign Office, isn't it, about whether you're going to have a COVID passport. And you guys will let people know as and when.
Yeah, and we've had no direction on this at all at the moment. It's not been spoken about, so we'll still be waiting. I know that certainly, like our Vice President here in the UK, he's on the CLIA board. They're constantly working with the governments. Obviously, all the governments are working together, so we'll just need to wait and see what information is cascaded down and how it's all going to work when the decision is made, I guess.
I agree with you. So much at the moment that's going around, and different bits of information. I think, guys, if you're a cruiser out there, we're all literally we're literally dying to go on a cruise. We really are. We'd be at those ports with our cases, up the gangways as quick as you like. But just wait and see, and let's see what happens. And we will all get back out cruising. And I know all the cruise lines, especially NCL, are so want to get you all enjoying, creating memories, enjoying your time on board, and and like us, we just want to get you out there to have fabulous holidays. Kirsty, it's been a pleasure this evening, and Pete, who joined us earlier, that's the first time we've had somebody come into the show, so it's been fabulous, and it's been an absolute great show.
I'm going to come back sometime, Martin. I'm going to come back sometime. I'm going to talk about Hawaii.
Oh, you didn't tell me that before.
Yeah, well, I've been researching. While I've been in lockdown, I've been researching my own holidays and where I want to go. So I've been doing a lot of research on Hawaii, and we've got a ship that's based down there, out of Honolulu. So the next time I come back, I'm going to come back and just talk about Hawaii and all the amazing things there is to do and see there, and talk about the ship, because that's on my bucket list now. So I can come and share that information with you.
I have booked quite a few trips to Hawaii for Hawaii 50th birthday. So
lovely.
So I've done a few of them in my time. I've been around and about for 20 odd years. Guys, well, thank you very much for everybody that joined in this evening. Great to see all the questions. We hope we've answered any. If we have missed any, just put me a comment on, and I will actually get the answer and come back to you. If you are watching this back, guys, if you have seen any offers, they may not be available because we are on the 18th of February 2021, but we will always get you the best deals through Norwegian Cruise Lines and ourselves. As always, ask me any questions. You can call me on 0161 735 0112. You can get me on Facebook. Everybody knows I'm always on there at different hours of the night, so you always get a response. And if you're looking to book a cruise, then just give me a call. You will be looked after. We're the guys that bring the cruise lines to you and coming to your sofa. Lots coming up in the next few weeks, guys. As you know, we've had lots before, and we've got lots more. All our partners and suppliers, they're clambering to come to your sofa. So if you've got somebody you want to see, let me know. Just pop a comment, send me a message, email. But Kirsty, thank you very much for this evening. I've really enjoyed it. And we will catch up with you very soon about Hawaii.
Definitely. Nice to see everybody. Bye.